Welcome to another edition of Vigorously with me, Val Kleinhands. Very, very excited to have the wonderful, the lovely Andrea Fisher in the building came to play today. Oh, I'm so excited to see you. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm checking in from Los Angeles. It's 10 in the morning still, so it's getting a little sunnier, hot. It's been really hot over here, but love it so far. It's been a
I
good
know.
day. How about you?
So far, so good. We're a little bit overcast here in Minnesota today. That's how I found you. I think we have some mutual connections in Minnesota. Okay, this is where it came from. I was going to ask about this.
I was gonna ask you too, because I always feel like I forgot how we connected, but I think it was through like the whole Minnesota fashion
Yeah.
community, right?
Yes, because I'm here for all of them. I'm here for all the baddies. I'm here for Fashion Week. I'm here for Sarah Edwards and what she's doing, Shada Young, what she's doing, like all of it. I moved to Minnesota like 8 years ago, and I live
Okay.
in Rochester now because I'm working in Rochester. But I mean, there's not much else to do in this state. You know that, other than go to Minneapolis. So I've been like, I go probably about like once a month or so, and that's how I ended up just meeting these people and meeting the community. You pop up as mutuals, and I was like, well, we need to chat, have a chat. Let's go.
And I feel like that's a good segue too, because that's kind of why I moved to LA too, because I felt like, so I got into modeling and acting in Minnesota originally. I have a few agencies there. I modeled for like Target there,
Oh,
because
okay.
first off in Minnesota, like it's good because Target corporates there, Best Buy corporates there, General Mills, 3M. So they all hire like local models. So if you're with agencies there, that's good. That's kind of how I got my start. But then I felt like everyone was kind of getting the same emails. There's only a certain level you can go with
Oh,
your jobs. So then I was like, I want to go to a bigger city. I always dreamed about LA because I saw it in movies. I love reality TV. I always saw like reality TV there. So yeah,
yes.
I moved to LA in 2019 in a model house. So that was crazy in itself. So basically one of my agents in Minnesota owned the house, and then we like paid like a subsidized rate. So that was
Okay.
interesting. It was like four of us, four boys from Minnesota, and then we lived in LA. Kind of crazy. There was definitely drama. Like it was giving like a little bit America's Next Top Model. Um, and then I moved back home during COVID, and then I've been back out here for 3 years now, and I live by myself, and it's amazing. So
I've
yeah, a
always
little bit
thought so.
about like my living journey.
Yes, I've always thought so. I always love LA. I've been there a couple times, multiple times. It's amazing. How
What's your
far are
favorite
you?
part? Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I like, honestly, the downtown in the Grove, I don't hate. I know some people, that's a hot take. I know, but I don't hate it. I do love Malibu. I like Santa Monica. Venice, if you want to go people watch, that's where to go.
Best people watching in Venice, that's for sure. If you thought yourself or I were weird, like you gotta go to Venice because you'll be surprised.
Yeah. It was just endless entertainment, endless entertainment. I mean, sometimes literally too, like there are buskers out there just doing their thing with music, just wanting to play.
The talent in LA is crazy because I feel like everyone from around like the country and world come to LA to try to make it. So it's like cool to see like the mixing like of cultures. And that's also why I love it, because it's like a melting pot of so many different cultures and like
Yeah.
dreams. And like in Minnesota, there's some creative industry, as you know, but it's not huge. So it's like out here, it's so cool to see like so many like choreographers, musicians, actors all going after their dreams and like kind of helping each other too.
Stop. I was going to talk about the same thing because I have a communications degree too. I was watching some of the videos that you're in, and I was like, get this. I knew you would get how frustrating that is to not have just a lot of creative outlets. And there's only, I don't know why, but it just seems like in some spots there's more options for creative endeavors than others. It's the weirdest like thing. I'm like, why? We need more art. We need more entertainment. We need more music. We need more fashion. Like I said, I have to go to Minneapolis if I want any of it. Not that I hate Rochester. It's a nice, calm place to live, but there's just not a whole lot going on. But LA seems to be where it is, or New York, or places like that, period.
Yeah, definitely the big cities have more of like the creative like energy and feel, which is really cool. And I love also LA because there's always something to do, like events, brand events, concerts. Like one thing about Minnesota, which always annoyed me growing up, is some of the artists would skip Minnesota because it's like one of those cities where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, sure, skip it. But in LA, they never skip the concerts. They either start here or end there. So I'm like, the concerts are good. I'm going to see Troy and Charlie in the fall, and I'm so excited.
Oh, that
Gonna
is going to
get
be a good show.
my gay heart is gonna be like pumping, pumping, pumping.
I love that. And you're already prepared because the hair is herring. We love a fresh cut and color. I can see this. I wish I could style my own hair as well as my stylist does. Like I always come away from the salon thinking that. Do you think the same thing?
100%. I'm like, okay, how am I gonna style this? Because I feel like now I just can never do it the
I
same.
can't. Yeah, this is me trying ish, kind of.
So good.
Well, so we have the communications degree in common, and another strange thing about that I was thinking about was the fact that we're not even really. I mean, you sort of are. I'm kind of not. Like my day job is office essentially at Mayo Clinic, like everybody else in Minnesota, and but
Yeah.
you can use those skills pretty much anywhere. And a lot of those skills are transferable, whether it's media projects, whether it's the digital end. Like I find people that just want somebody proficient in like basic stuff like PowerPoint and Word and Excel and things like that. And I wouldn't have gotten those skills without my communications degree either. Do you think the degree in communications is like necessary anymore or not? Or is it more about popping off on socials?
Okay, so this is a hot take. I love this. So we both have the communication degree in common. I find it super beneficial, and when I do some interviews and stuff, I always say I'm a professional talker because I have a degree in communication, and I feel like it really showed me different like communication with interpersonal skills, and it kind of is like a degree that you can kind of take what, like you said, anywhere sort of. Because I'll like be doing my day to day. Sometimes I'll be, was my degree even like useful? And then I
Yeah.
think of like certain points and I'm like, okay, because when I have to email certain brands, I remember like the language, the rhetoric, stuff I learned in communication to try to kind of pull it together. So you kind of got to think about some parts and like put it together. But I think overall, the communication degree for me was super beneficial. Would I like to go back to school? Probably not. No. But like I feel like I'm one of those people that I think everything happens for a reason, and I am thankful for the communication degree because it kind of helped me, where I am today. And one day I'm gonna be like on reality television. That's like my big goal. So I think the
Yes.
communication degree will help with that. I can project everything to the world.
You can't another Andy Cohen. I'm here for it. I'm sad because Andy, listen, there's gonna
We
be a
love
point
it.
where Andy is gonna want to not have all the jobs at some point. I think he's gonna
Oh,
want to break at some
100%.
point. Like, oh, I love that so much. So you would tell up and coming models, anybody in any type of creative field, the degree is worth it because it is transferable.
I would say yes, because I always another thing is I love to ask people here because I do a little bit of so I'm a model full time and I do a little bit of acting. And I always ask like the actors who have the degree in musical theater or acting if it's like worth it. And some say yes, some say no. So it's always interesting to kind of compare it all because I think at the end of the day, experience in the actual field is like always worth it more in a sense. So if you can get hands-on experience, then do it.
Yeah, on the job experience. That's the only
Yeah.
like all the programs that we use to edit those things and create those things, or those networking connections that you make when you go to particular events where they all just happen to be there at the same time. Like that. I mean, it does kind of come with a degree, but it's not. I don't know. I can take it or leave it, but I like having it because I feel like I'm definitely confident in the skill set on okay, now I know how to produce what I need, or now I know how the technical stuff, the computers, the Adobe Audition for editing audio, Final Cut, things like that, when we want to make our own stuff. That's where I learned those skills. So in that aspect, I think it's worth it, but
Mhm.
the sky, I feel like is the limit anymore with taking your career where you want it to go. You've taken your career, like you just said, to multiple avenues, and I want to get into all of that. First, let's talk about a journey that I don't think is shared nearly enough, and that's the queer model experience. I mean, I don't hear enough about it. I watched
Mm.
Top Model. I mean, I watched Top Model growing up too, and I don't see. We were all rooting for it. We were all rooting for Tiffany. We were.
I wanted to be on that show so bad growing up. I think I watched like every season, and then they had some like men sprinkled in there. Then they had a little bit like androgynous with a lot of like
Right.
controversies.
And people had a lot of opinions on that, but I don't recall, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, I don't recall a focus on the queer model journey so much. Not
Not
in depth.
tons, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, not in depth. So for your experience, could you maybe speak to that? Is there any difference at all? Does it make model life harder at all?
Yes and no. So I would say like for me in like the modeling world, over the years I've kind of struggled with showing like my masculinity or femininity because I feel like stereotypically when they see like gay men, they want like very like flamboyant dresses, makeup.
Mhm.
So like I've had to be comfortable with like showing that side, but also showing like my masculine side or being sexy or having my like shirt off. So I feel like I've kind of struggled throughout the years and I'm getting better at kind of owning like my gender because I would say I'm more like fluid in that sense. So I can do like do more masculine, more feminine. At the end of the day, I think like for clothing wise, I feel like clothing shouldn't have a gender, just like wear what
Yeah.
you want, feel comfortable and like be you. So like every day I'm kind of trying to learn that. But I don't know, sometimes it's hard for like my kind of like gender and how I've like experienced it all. For example, I've done a lot of makeup modeling and I've
Mhm.
been like one of the only men in this space. So it's kind of crazy. I've done NYX Cosmetics, One Size Beauty, Maybelline. But it's like cool because I remember one audition and I went in, it was for Color Pop. And I was the only male in there, and it was like 26 beautiful, gorgeous women of like all ethnicities. And I was like, oh, okay, like how, like, I can't even compete. I tried it, ended up getting it. But, there's sometimes like that. And you just kind of, at the end of the day, own your skills, own your craft. There's a lot of like queer actors and talent out in LA. So you can kind of talk to them too. I feel like there wasn't a lot in Minnesota. So it's like in Minnesota, I would get booked as like the queer person, or I wouldn't get
Oh,
hired at
okay.
all, if that makes sense. Like I feel like I
Yeah.
wouldn't get a lot of like I wasn't very masculine, so like I couldn't get pushed for like those masculine roles or like the dad roles because I wasn't old enough. And then if it was like a queer role, it was like I had to be like gay, gay. So it's like I feel like sometimes in the media they like, especially for gay individuals, they like try to like really hype it up. It's like very, very flamboyant, or like I feel like sometimes in Hollywood they play to the stereotypes to the max.
Yeah, they do because they think that that's what sells. I would
Yes.
imagine, or that it's easier to maybe market it on, it gives their marketing team a break, so to speak. Like, oh, we already know how to sell this because the stereotype's already out there. We already know what the public is thinking. We already know how to present this to them. And it's like, skirt, I'm sorry, but the gay men that I know, there is a wide spectrum, even among y'all. Like, there is not, I can't say like the obvious stereotypical super flamboyant, gay man represents all gay men.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
And I think too, like I always say this too, that I think stereotypes are in place for a reason because multiple people, but I feel like you can't make a judgment based on a
Mhm.
stereotype. You can look at it as maybe like a guidance or knowledge, but don't like make a judgment based off of it.
No, absolutely not. It should be a lot more fluid, especially in a creative space, which is
Mhm.
probably why I love being in creative projects to begin with. So this fall, you're walking in Evolve. Love, love,
Yeah.
love, love Evolve Fashion Show. You've done them multiple times. What can you tell us about this part? Just because I know we've got plenty of locals listening. What can you tell us about your upcoming part in the show?
Yes. Okay. So I love Evolve. That's one of like my favorite fashion shows in Minnesota Fashion Week. So I kind of started my modeling career with Minnesota Fashion Week. So it's been fun to kind of go back. I pretty much go back every season when I can. I love Kim, Sarah, who run on the show. They're very professional. They always have like very organized. That's why I love it too. So I think I'll be walking for four designers. I'm not quite sure yet for sure who. but I'm excited. It's always very professional. It's in a new location this year, so they kind of keep switching it up. But I'm excited for that show. I love to. In the past, I've worn like some dresses. I've worn like a turtleneck. So I've done a variety of different looks for them. So I can't wait to see what I have for this year. Are you gonna go?
No, I want to. It's on my
Yeah,
list. It's on
yeah.
my list. I've got it on the calendar. I'll put it that way.
Let me see. I'll ask Sarah and Kim, see what we can do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. We need to see all the edgy sort of type grungy looks. That's what I'm looking for this season. Because I feel like, I mean, the 90s revival has helped with that, but I'm like, please let it stay. Please let it stay, because that's just my personal preference. I'm like, please tell me that that's what the future of fashion is.
Isn't it so crazy too how like all these trends like recycle? It's like
Yeah.
so like clockwork.
It is, because I remember like looking at these vintage tees now that they're called vintage. I'm like, I wanted to wear that when I was a child in the 90s, but I couldn't buy it. And now I get to, and I'm like, yes. It's like going
Yes.
to a candy store or something. What so upcoming fashion trends, your personal opinion, what do you think we might see more of?
Ooh. So I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of like baggy clothes again. That's like the
Mhm.
whole like very in. Like I used to be very like skinny jeans, all that, but I feel like baggy just like makes people feel cool. Like it's like a certain swag you have with it. So I love the baggy jeans with the oversized look. What else? I feel like green is really trending right now because of Brat Summer, Charlie XCX. So I feel
Yes,
like
yes.
the lime green like aesthetics with certain colors, and like I feel like it's gonna continue more a little bit. I'm trying to think of what else. I feel like people really like the rings and the chunky like accessories. I feel like that's for sure gonna keep going. Also like the platform shoes. People are loving the Converse platform, the Crocs platform. Like I feel like everyone has a platform. So I feel like, what else do you think?
A Y2K. I think we're going to start to see more of a Y2K influence. So we're
Yeah.
talking like the metallics. I think we're going to
Yeah.
see more of a celestial prints and then metallics, kind of like what we were seeing then. And I'm not mad
Oh,
at that. I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that either. I know some of the trends where it's like you're like, I'll take it or leave it, but I feel
Yeah.
like I'll take all these. Yeah.
Definitely. And you've also crossed an item off my bucket list that I have wanted to cross off for years. I am incredibly jealous. You were in multiple, I found out later, Jubilee YouTube videos, like at least one a few months ago, and like a couple others. For anyone that doesn't know, these videos are just, they're the ones that show people simply having some hot takes or, making assumptions or guesses about, what people stereotypes, things like that, just while discussing some myths and hot topics. They dive into them. You're in one that has women rank men by penis size. Now, how in the world do you maintain your composure in a video like that? That's what I want to know.
I'm dying. Shout out to Jubilee. Yeah, so Jubilee, if you don't know, you did a fabulous job explaining it. Basically, to do different social experiments
That's a
on
better word. Yeah.
YouTube, Snapchat, like all that. So they try to like really change people's stereotypes and like just kind of change the narrative a little bit. And it's very entertaining. They get a lot of different people. But I've been on a few now. I actually just filmed one on Sunday, which I'm
Yeah.
super excited. I don't know if I can say it, but I'll say a little bit of it. Basically, it's political, and
Oh, okay.
we had to rank people if they were like Republican or Democratic. So there was 20 people. That's all I can really say. I'll give like the premise,
Oh
but
my
it will
God.
probably be coming out in like a month or two. It was very interesting, like to just hear about like if you could like because they you could ask them any question, but it was
Mhm.
just like a little bit. So you kind of had to
Ah.
make an assumption based on how they looked, maybe like a certain like skill or something they had. So that was fun. But the first two videos I did with them, the first one was gaydar. So there's 20 people that came in front of me. I had to say if they were gay or not. And that was hard. Like I thought I was gonna be the best and I did the worst. And then the last one I did, which you were kind of talking about before, was women rank men by dick size. So
Yeah, they make the
I,
assumptions that they think they know how big they are. I'm like, girl, please. No. How do you really know? I'm sorry. I'm a female and even I can't. Okay? I can't.
they kept putting me near the front, and I was like, okay, thanks, girls. Yes, I will take it. They were like, you just have the energy like you have a big one. And I was like, okay, work.
No, but to your point, like you brought up something I wanted to ask you about this too. When it comes to BDE, big dick energy, gay people assess that and discuss that and think about that too. And I was always wondering that. I was like, does that even matter to a gay person? Because it's kind of just like my perception is that it's all out there very quickly within the relationship. Is there even time to mull that over? No, probably not. But like but it exists. Like anybody of any sexuality can buy into that, can buy into BDE. That's something I learned from that video.
I feel like it's just something you either have or you don't. And like, if you have it, you can recognize it. But if you don't, you might not recognize it.
It was so entertaining, and I'm so glad to hear there's going to be another video. I gotta think about how I would do that. I'm like, I don't know if I could just tell by looking at somebody whether or not they're a Democrat or Republican. I don't think I could. I mean, there might be some like basic, again, stereotypical things that may or may not be correct, but they're never 100% certain that you could go down the list and make an assumption on. But no, I
And
wouldn't
just
know.
wait too, because I'll give you I asked, like, you could ask any question. So I asked some of the craziest questions, and from that answer, I knew right away.
Okay, God. So we understood the assignment to begin with. This is going to
Yeah,
be a
no,
good.
I was like, you know what, I need to be entertaining out of the box, but still like try to win.
Yeah,
So
I understand.
you'll see what ranking I get and all the goodness. But yeah, it's coming out within like a month or two. But yeah, they're just fun to me because the studio's kind of close. The crew's always fun. I think it's like fits to my personality. So I'm like, and they always get like millions of views. So I'm like, okay, period.
They're popular because they're entertaining. The
Yeah.
subjects and the things that they have these people make assumptions on are just wildly entertaining. I literally would binge all week. Like I had COVID last week, so that's what I did at home. Was binge just Jubilee YouTube and try and see if I could guess correctly where other people
Mm.
wouldn't, or if somebody made a correct guess where I missed something. I mean, there's some crazy topics. Like they'll have people covered and they're like, can you guess their race? And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Are you serious? Like, I don't think I could.
I don't know how they think of these too. I'm like,
What?
oh my gosh.
They're wild. The suit in the video, the one that we were just talking about, though, the suit that you had was fire. The soft pink, for anybody that didn't see it, love that it was topped with the pink loafers to give us a monochrome moment. I mean, it was amazing. How did you develop your taste and your style?
Ooh, good question. So that pink suit was actually Minnesota designer Annalise
Oh,
Fashion.
cool.
She's in New York now, and I rocked for her like a few different times. Minnesota Fashion Week evolved too, and then like I had an NFL wedding last year that I attended, so I was like, okay, I need to show up, like show them that Hollywood can, show a little. So I was
Let's
like, I
go.
want this pink suit. So she designed that for me, and my fashion. Oh, the shoes too. Those shoes. I have to tell you this story. Um, Last year when the Elvis movie came out, the
Yeah, yeah.
Elvis like estate and his account DM'd me to do a collaboration with them, and those shoes they sent me. They're like a collaboration, Hush Puppy and Elvis. So like
Okay.
I love them. They're just like a fashion moment. But my fashion style overall, kind of like day to day, I feel like I love showing a little skin, a little see through moment. I love like the baggy stuff now. I love fun prints to be loud. My favorite colors are, I feel like, pink, blue, green. I love like what I was kind of talking about before, mixing a little bit of like feminine but masculine too, to kind of like
Mhm.
break the stereotypes there. So I love doing that. But I don't know. I feel like fashion for me as a model too, you kind of have to get too used to wearing like whatever and just like serving in it. So that's
That was
kind of
my
what I
next question.
do.
I was wondering about that. Like, would your modeling career impact your personal style at all? Does it influence at all? Or is your personal style like your sacred space where you're like, no, this is where I'm going to wear what I want to wear. And for once in my life, I'm not going to have somebody else tell me what to wear. Cause to me, you give things some edge too, with the metallics, with the leathers, the silver, the brass. I'm here for it.
Thank you, love. I would say, like my modeling stuff has inspired my personal style a little bit because I've tried on things in modeling where I maybe wouldn't feel comfortable personally wearing, but
Oh,
now,
and then you find
okay,
you like them.
yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So it kind of pushed my comfort zone out of there and stretched it a little bit. But I do like love just like a sweat moment too sometimes because if I'm constantly changing different outfits and costumes, that I love to relax too. But in LA, I feel like you always gotta have a fashion moment on. So like I always try to like give a little, but I also love LA too because of the fashion here. Because you could wear whatever you want, and people might not even look at you because there's someone like 10 times weirder like down the street. And also like the weird thing about here is like you may be going to like a brand event and people will be like all dressed up like red carpet. Some people will be in sweats, some people will be in suit, some people will be like short and like gym clothes. And like that's just what it is. So it's
Okay.
like I don't know why in LA it's like very like all over the place with the fashion, which is kind of fun too. But yeah, I would say that's like my fashion in LA has inspired it, and my modeling career has inspired it a little bit too.
I love that it's inspiring. I'm finding like the opposite here in Minnesota because since I've been here for 8 years now, I came from a bigger city. Like I came from Pittsburgh, and I'm
Yeah.
doing the assignment is Joan Jett, edgy rock and roll all day, every day. And I have people who look to me, they're like, I didn't know I could do that. And they're like, stereotypical Midwest. They're been on the dairy farm half their life and they're just trying to they're trying to maneuver their way through, that world. And they're like, I didn't even know that this type of clothing was an option. I didn't know I could style things this way, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yes, you can. I want everybody to be able to do that and think that way. Like you don't have to be conservative just because everybody else is being conservative
Yeah.
around you.
And I feel like fashion is something like that you can just show your individual personality and style. And also, like, we all have that one piece of clothing that makes you just feel so good and confident when you put it on. So I
Mhm.
love kind of just like dressing your confidence and what makes you feel good.
Yeah, that's the goal all day, every day. Because you've done all the jobs, I was just curious if you had one in particular that really stands out as your absolute
Wait,
favorite.
wait, you broke up a little bit.
Did
You
I?
said because you do all the jobs, and then
Okay,
you
we'll
said,
start over.
yeah, perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay, we'll start over. Yep, that's why this isn't live. That's okay. That's exactly why this isn't live. but so I was just asking, because you've done all the jobs, you've done so many, and within different platforms of creativity, whether it's music videos, whether it's YouTube, whether it's, photo shoots, modeling, commercials. Is there a particular one that stands out to you? And what do you think the secret to being so versatile is?
Ooh, okay. So
We're
secret to
hitting
being
it hard.
versatile. What?
We're hitting it hard.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
go.
we are. The secret to being versatile, I would say that is like the secret of Hollywood, I would say. So like the more you can do, the more you're bookable as an actor, as a model. So say like I can juggle, you can be booked for a huge commercial, like make like so you always like remember the little things. For example, my old roommate, he booked a Nike commercial, I believe, with Tiger Woods because he could
Oh wow.
dribble a golf ball and an iron. So the more you can do and the more you can be versatile and know strange talents, have multiple languages, sing, dance, the more you can be booked for different roles and like opportunities. As far as like my favorite job, I would say like my biggest commercial ever was last year for Peloton. It was global. It was so cool. It was during like the NBA finals it played. People were seeing it all over. And I've always wanted to do fitness stuff because I ran since I was younger. I do yoga, hit workout.
Okay.
So it was so cool. But the craziest thing in my fashion, when it came out, the only part that was in the commercial was me twerking. And how that came about was in the commercial, I was supposed to be doing jump squats and running. But like when I was done with the jump squats, they had a movement coach there to make sure all like the movements were right. And I was just twerking for her. The producers saw it. They were like, "You need to do that in the next take." And then that was the only thing they used.
I love
But I
that's the
made
thing.
money.
That's the
What'd you say?
thing. That's the
Yeah.
thing. That's the thing that will it's those memorable moments is what I'm getting at. That will have somebody, just say that person can do that. I remember them being able to do this. I remember them making me laugh when they did that. Let's bring that same energy to whatever project we're working on at the time.
That's the key too. I feel like just be you at the end of the day because that will shine brighter than like anything else. And I also like love, love, love since I've been out in LA music videos that I've been blessed with like so many now. But I feel like one of my favorites, and I think it still has maybe the most views ever for a music video. I was in Little Nas X and Jack Harlow's Industry Baby. And that was just like so cool because the casting director like booked me for it before I even applied because I had a relationship with her.
Oh,
And it was
good.
that like a jail, which was really spooky, by the way. There was like blood on the like wall that was definitely there when the jail was in like because it was a jail that stopped running. But it was like so cool because Little Nas X wasn't that big yet or just on the upcome, and Jack Harlow was there. Jack was so nice. Lil Nas was so nice. It's just cool to be a part of like since he's queer too and one of like the first like rappers and be in that music video in that space and like has like I don't know how many views, but like millions and millions. So that was just super cool. And then I've been blessed to be in like I was just in one for Eminem, been in a music video for Becky G. Who else? Billie Eilish was one of my favorite ones. Uh, the other one, Moneybag Yo, Neon Trees. Oh, there's one that I can't say that's coming out soon. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm excited. Yeah, so
we're
I've been blessed with a lot of opportunity. And I think
we're
at the end
booked
of
and
the day,
busy.
booked and busy. And at the end of the day, I think you have to be your own biggest supporter because, especially in this industry, you get a lot of rejection because you apply, you might get like a lot of auditions, but like you might not book a lot. So it's like you just have to keep going and putting yourself out there, being your biggest fan, having like a good support around you, and keep pushing it if it's your dream or your passion.
Yeah, I found the same thing in radio too whenever I was doing it because there sometimes you would send like your audio resume, they called it a demo. You would send it to them and they'd be like, you don't fit our sound or you don't fit our brand
Yeah,
or blah 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 blah." And I was like, "All right, next. We're getting our Ariana Grande on. Okay, thank you. Bye." Like I would never have known whether it was going to work out if I didn't put myself out there in the first place. And honestly, that's the only motivator I had because rejection does suck. It never feels
yeah.
great. No matter how
Mhm.
many, I don't think there's ever a point where you're totally numb to it. Like you could be rejected thousands of times and you'll still feel something. But
Yeah, every time you're still gonna be like, oh, yeah.
yeah, it does sting. But you have the flip side of that coin where it's like, well, hold on, if I stop trying, then I'll really never get to wherever it is I want to be. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the thing that keeps you going. What keeps you going when you get rejected?
Ooh, good question. I always feel like I have like my big goals in mind, and then always I have to make time for self care. So
Mm,
I like on long runs. I love yoga. I love binge watching reality television. So I have to find like a balance of like working hard, and especially in since I do like all freelance gigs, like basically I work whenever I get work and then the other half I like need to find it. So it's like I'm constantly have to like basically be working. So I have to like learn how to kind of like switch it off and find your self-care. I feel like a lot of people are more into that now and it's more like in front of our society like mental health and taking care of yourself, and I think like we as a society need to find like that work and life balance so that we can live because how shitty is it just to like live to work? You have to like live to live too. So I think just finding that balance is everything.
hmm I absolutely understand that. And we've all been through those like toxic work environments or toxic bosses or whatever. And just, it is horrible. It is like, it can be such a downer. But again, if you don't keep at it, if you don't keep trying, I mean, I always think that when I watch Love Island too, I'm like, that's gotta hurt. Every time, like I'm still working my way through this season. Purely Ariana was the reason I started watching. Like, period. I hadn't watched Love Island before. So okay, let's hand this
Okay,
over to
wait,
you,
side
Mari,
note,
too.
do you watch Vanderpump Rules?
Yes, I love Vanderpump Rules.
Okay.
Katie is my style inspo. I love Katie.
She's like, so
Yes.
Vanderpump Rules and like the Valley too. I live in Valley Village, so they
Oh
all
my
live
God.
in the same city as me. So like Tom and Ariana's house is literally like down the block. I pass Jack's bar a lot. Who has Raquel at an apartment like down the road from me. She was like pictured at TMZ, like at the nail salon I used to go to. Like, so they're all over here, that energy. So I always tell people when I live, I'm like, do you watch Vanderpump Rules? Yeah, I live over there.
I live there.
So
Wait, tell me, is that overwhelming? Are there like so a lot of paparazzi, or is it
no,
pretty
I
quiet?
mean I don't really ever see it. I've only so I've met who have I met from all that? I've met Sheena and Brock. Uh Super nice. I was working at HBO event. I was talking to Sheena about how I did like background work because I was doing
Mhm.
background work for like American Horror Story, and she was telling me how she did background work for Entourage back in the day. So
Oh,
it was cool to like talk to someone who's like kind of making it or a reality star where I want to be, and like she's like, yeah, this is where I started too. So it was cool to see that, even though I wasn't expecting that because I kind of felt like she was gonna be a bitch because she kind of is on TV, but
you
she
never know.
wasn't.
Yeah, you
So
never know.
you never know. And like that's the thing too, like people don't get with television, like you can do a whole act about yourself. Like Paris Hilton, that like dumb girl act, that was an act.
Genius.
Like she's smart as hell. Like
Yes.
the like people can like put their own like, little spin on it too.
I love that. Oh, that's got to be inspiring to see to surround yourself with the people that you want to emulate their career and you want to do what they're doing. You kind of want to be on the same wave. Like that's that's inspiring. That's something that I want to work on, is like building my network and getting to that same level, because I would love to see that too. No matter how many times we're rejected, like just keep going. So
And that
we talked about Evolve. We talked about some fun videos that are coming from you. What else can we look forward to? What should we look forward to coming from you? What should we pay attention to?
Oh, good question. So I'm getting into more acting. So like my goal acting wise would like love to be on like a sitcom or something of that nature. So I'm taking more classes. I'm in the process of getting like a talent manager. So like I'm excited to expand my career in that sense. I've always, like I said before, wanted to do reality television. So like one day I will be, like I'm determined. And when I'm determined, I'm gonna so watch out for the screens. Like I'm gonna be on reality television one day. And then other than that, I'm gonna keep doing auditions. You'll probably see me on TV and some commercials. Keep, going after my dreams and take it day by day because at the end of the day, it's like these jobs come in like randomly. Sometimes they'll be like day of, and like so you just gotta be open, manifest, do your self-care, and then the rest is up to the universe.
Yes, I'm going to nominate you for Gay Suburban Couple on the Valley. We need it. We need it.
Yes, because I have a boyfriend now. It's my first one ever. I'm 29 and like we both live in Valley Village. Oh my gosh. I thought about that actually before, but then I'm like, am I gonna like I feel like the producers will pry, like it's gonna
Oh,
I don't know. Because
okay.
like my thing is I've done what was I gonna say, applied to reality before, so I've made it for a few rounds for the circle for a few seasons.
You've done the
I've
circle too? Oh my God, I'm obsessed. I love Oliver and Chris. They're my favorite ones from past seasons. Literally, I could talk to
I
you all
love
day.
the
Stop.
circle. Would love to be on it, but wasn't meant in the cards for me. Wipeout. I got uh offered to be on that show, saw the contract, was not into it at all.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm kind of just trying to find the right reality show. You know what I mean? I love reality. I know you do too. So one day,
We're
I
gonna
think I'll
circle back.
manifest for you to be on a reality too. I feel like the circle, you would slay on the circle, especially like with your background with communication. Like we would slay.
I was gonna say the same thing to you. Why are you not on the circle either? I was like, hold on, we could. But would you? Okay, so would you play as yourself, or would you make up a character? Because for anybody that doesn't know what the circle is, it's a social media competition, and you get to sort of like create your own social media profile and try and win a lot of money, a shit ton of money. So, but you don't have to play as yourself. You could create a different social media profile too. So how would you play?
Hmm. Okay, so I have like two answers for this. I would personally love to play myself because I feel like I have so many pictures that I could just like
Yes.
emulate like a certain energy. So I feel like I have the Rolodex of photos, and as like someone who's always trying to be myself, I have the words "be yourself" tattooed on me. I feel like I would have to go as myself too. And like I would love the screen time. I want people to know it's me. Like hello. And then also I have like so many friends that are like gorgeous, beautiful, like women, like models, like Playboy, like all that. So like I feel like I could totally like, and I like been around women my whole life, so I know how to talk like one too. So I feel like I could really convince, I could flirt with like some of the straight guys because straight guys are dumb most of the time. So I feel like it would be fun to do both. It kind of just like the energy. I don't know. Well, what
Stop.
about you?
I am howling right now. Okay, see, I always felt like I don't know that I'm controversial enough to like be as memorable if I play myself. So I
Mm.
always thought that I would have to make up some sort of character. I don't know, some sort of grand version of myself that I have in my head or something. Maybe like super hot blonde bombshell that, is the direct opposite of who I actually am physically. Like that,
But I feel
something
like
like
that would
that.
be like so good for you because then it shows off your personality even more.
Yeah,
Like,
it could be. I'm thinking I could do that, or we haven't seen a lot of alternative baddies on the circle yet. We haven't seen too many rockers, too many metalheads, too many tattooed
but
alternative girlies. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, maybe there actually is a market for me as I am too. So
yeah.
I go back and forth on that all the time, but I worry that I'm too boring, which is why I didn't say myself
Uh-uh.
first.
I don't think so. I think when you just say what's on your mind and be a little extra, I don't think, no.
Yeah. I feel it. Well, I'm manifesting that for all of you. Andrew, thank you so much for chatting with me and sitting with me today. I could have talked to you all day.
Yes, it was so much fun. Thank you for having this space for me too. I can't wait to listen.